Tonight on our news, possible shutdown. Airport workers across the country threaten action over years of unresolved issues. And from a cultural site to a crime scene, an eyewitness account of the bloody Independence Junkanoo brawl. And later, the creative genius camp for at-risk youth. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Disruptions at various ports of entry may be on the horizon as outraged employees at airports across the country are giving the government until the end of the week to respond to their list of concerns. The threat coming in a union meeting Monday evening as Bahamas Public Service Union members say they're tired of being overlooked. Bethany McDermott reports.
The Bahamas Public Service Union threatening to withdraw its services as early as this week over outstanding issues. According to Union President Kingsley Ferguson, members are outraged over an outstanding industrial agreement and monies owed that they say has yet to be paid. They say they're done waiting after being at an impasse for years.
We believe that it is absolutely necessary for the workers to stand in solidarity, which includes taking industrial action starting this week.
According to Ferguson, Prime Minister Philip Davis informed him that $800,000 was approved by Cabinet and forwarded to the Airport Authority for Family Island salary adjustments. However, Ferguson alleges it wasn't paid out. He also claims the Financial Secretary informed him that $10 million to address concerns in the industrial agreement was approved and sent to the authority.
We were advised by the Airport Authority Human Resources Director that the monies would have been paid in installments of over a 6-month period. We are now being advised that they no longer have that money.
When contacted, Airport Authority Chairman Paul Bevins declined to comment. The BPSU president says these issues are impacting Family Island employees, security officers, security screeners, firefighters, and administrative staff.
If we can put our best foot forward for Airport Authority year after year, passing audit after audit, why can't what it do to us come to us?
You can find $20 million for sidewalks in the last administration. I think this administration wants to spend $45 million on a new prison. Okay, no problem. Just don't forget the Airport Authority.
Now again, should government not respond this week, the union is saying they will withdraw their services. And that applies not just to employees here in the capital, but in the Family Islands as well. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Thanks, Bethany. Well, protesters gathering outside the office of the Prime Minister this morning for the third Tuesday in a row. Independent contract holders once again demanding payment for money they say is still owed. And just how far are they willing to go? Our Jamila Missick tells us in this report.
Protesters continuing to call out the Davis administration. When our news team arrived at the office of the Prime Minister early Tuesday morning, we met what appeared to be an officer attempting to gather personal information from those taking action outside OPM. Protesters labeling it an act of intimidation.
We're not criminals. Why are they trying to criminalize us? Okay, we're only asking for payment.
Protest organizer Richard Johnson says they feel like they're being targeted because of their political affiliation.
You are targeting Bahamians. We ain't swim here. We ain't catch no flight here. We born here. And so we are telling the government of the Bahamas, you say you are the government for all. Well, all of us here are Bahamians. And we only want what is owed to us. We ain't want nothing else.
Now, when our news spoke to Beaches and Parks Authority Chairman Michael Barnaby last week, he indicated they were putting together a list of individuals to be paid as soon as possible. To that, Johnson had this response.
They've asked us to bring all of these documents, bank statement, this form, that letter. We've done all of that. And so there's no need for the talking any longer.
Retiree Adrienne Miller says all she wants is confirmation as to exactly when she will be paid.
I'm trying to get any and every money is owed to me. And the biggest amount owed to me is by my government. And it's hurtful because I was a Bahamian from 1957 before I ever voted. And I am a very patriotic Bahamian. You all look at me, man. I don't play when it comes to representing this Bahamas. And I don't play when it comes to standing up for the rights of myself and the Bahamian people.
Now, these residents say they're prepared to meet here at the office of the Prime Minister every Tuesday until they get what is owed to them. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
Brace for another wave of COVID-19. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville giving the warning at Cabinet this morning following a busy Independence holiday weekend that saw some spectators ignoring COVID protocols. Italia Hall reports.
Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville making it clear that there is a possibility of another wave.
COVID is still in our country. The cases are of concern.
His comments came after several videos circulated on social media over the holiday weekend, showing many residents not wearing their masks during the Independence festivities. The health minister reminding the public that there is a mask mandate in place.
We had a lot of celebrations over the Independence holidays. I believe that from the videos that I'm seeing that some of the mask mandates, rules and regulations were not completely adhered to. That can create some potential spikes. I'm watching.
Now, while the health minister says the potential spike in COVID-19 cases is concerning, the government does not plan to tighten restrictions at this time. The People's Love and Unity Rush was held on Bay Street. Usually the parade would have barricades, but this year there weren't any. Additionally, crowds of people could be seen not practicing social distancing. Darville says when the government hosts Junkanoo parades such as Boxing Day and New Year's Day, more structure will be in place.
In the event that our Junkanoo celebrations in the Christmas and New Year's need additional protocols, we will make those recommendations and we will work very closely with the Ministry of National Security and our COVID police.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
Well, there's some good news for parents considering vaccinating their young children against COVID-19. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville today confirming the government has secured vaccines for children between 5 and 12 years old. That shipment of pediatric vaccines is expected in country the week of July 25th.
July the 25th, the last count I had was some 24,000 doses of the pediatric vaccines.
Well, temperatures beginning to cool off this evening, but it's still pretty hot. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks and welcome everybody for our first look at weather on this another warm Tuesday evening. Very warm temperatures outside our studios right now. Temperatures are well up into the 80s, 87 right now with a few clouds. South-southeast winds at 9 miles per hour. And factoring the relative humidity, it feels like a very warm 95 degrees on the outdoors. Nothing much happening across our area. Ridge of high pressure remains in charge of our weather, jutting out there from the Atlantic across us and into the eastern portions of the Gulf. A couple of spotty showers across the Bahamas, but most of all, it's going to remain a quiet night and tomorrow. We do watching an area in the Gulf of Mexico for some potential for development. We'll talk about that later on in the newscast. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, a violent turn of events on Independence Day, sending Junkanooers and onlookers running. We'll tell you what you didn't see on camera. And the family of a missing special needs man believes his body may have been found. Plus, find out about the camp giving at-risk youth a creative outlet. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shantytown.
Independence celebrations marred by a brawl on Bay Street. The fight sending Junkanoo performers and onlookers running. Marlena Leonard has this exclusive interview with a witness who saw it all happen and an update on the officer who stepped in.
Yesterday's Independence Day rush hour was the first full-scale Junkanoo parade since the pandemic. But what should have been a happy scene ended up being a crime scene. Shortly before 7 a.m., a large fight broke out. This witness, who wants to remain anonymous, sharing his account of the bloody brawl.
Finished watching Roots dig up the road. I come back down so you could watch family. And right as I was passing where Subarus used to be, all I see is movie. like, these dudes come out of nowhere, like, the street cleared, and I think they was trying to gang this way. Like, it's probably like 5 or 6 of them on one. All I see is like bottles flying, chairs flying. Same time I saw this one guy, like, he was going for this guy's head. Just stop.
National Security Minister Wayne Monroe identifies the officer, calling him a hero.
I'm told that Chief Superintendent Hines, who is actually assigned, I think he's officer assigned to the police tribunal, was on duty, intervened to stop the young man being murdered. He himself was injured.
That police officer has since been treated and discharged from the hospital. According to police, no arrests have been made. Reporting for our news, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks, Marlena. Well, the demolition of illegal housing structures continues in shantytowns across New Providence. A 2018 Supreme Court injunction protects certain areas from being destroyed. However, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says officials are working around that in a multi-government agency effort. Monroe says officials have already visited Bonefish Pond and the area surrounding Harold and Wilson Ponds.
There was some encroachment in Harold, one of the ponds are at Harold or Wilson, some encroachment from surrounding landholders, some mechanic situations. They've gone back to Ministry of Works for the relevant steps to be taken with regard to demolishing premises that would be illegally built in a national park.
The National Security Minister says he's now awaiting an action report on work already executed in shantytowns off Carmichael Road. He says teams will move into Andros, Abaco, and Grand Bahama once work on New Providence is complete. In other news, backyard farming planting seeds of progress during food security talks at the recent CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Suriname. The Agriculture Minister pleased with how the Bahamas measures up against regional counterparts. However, the minister tells our Sasha Lightborn there's still much more work to be done.
The Davis administration is on the right track when it comes to pushing backyard farming in the country, so much so that Agriculture Minister Clay Sweeting says other countries in the region are taking notice. Sweeting participated in the 43rd regular meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government in Suriname this past week, where food security and, by extension, backyard farming was widely discussed. He said backyard farming has done well, but the government has a national and holistic approach to achieving sustainable food security.
Backyard farming is definitely one way where we can help to feed ourselves and not just, we need to grow what we eat and grow where we live. So that's one aspect.
He said the idea is to take backyard farming and incorporate it into the whole idea of agribusiness.
The amount of persons that are employed by that sector is less than 2%. So we can commercialize the sector, and that's one thing here at CARICOM that they're looking at, and how we can take agriculture to agribusiness, where persons could actually commercialize the sector. But because we understand that there's business aspect of it, and we hope to drive that as well.
And how exactly will that be achieved?
To formulate some grant funding through SBDC, we hope to put an agribusiness aspect in there, because it's not agriculture as usual. We must understand that in order for us to be serious about it, it must be a business, and persons must be able to hire people, drive the sector, contribute to GDP, and hopefully in a few years we're able to enhance that, and then persons are able to not just be a part of the backyard sector, but also be able to hire staff, look at new technology, innovation. Young people and women will be a big topic here at CARICOM on how they will be intertwined in the mix of driving this sector.
Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
When our news comes back from the break, a missing man's family believes a badly decomposed body found locked in a car may be his. Plus,
coming up in sports for tonight, the Bahamas strikes gold in 12U and 16U at the inaugural Babe Ruth Invitational. And we'll also tell you about Jazz Chisholm. Guess what? He's an all-star. That's coming up in sports.
And an upcoming summer camp is set to give at-risk teens a chance to express their creativity. The details when our news returns.
got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shantytown.
This is our news. Welcome back. New tonight, the family of a missing special needs man fears he is dead after police found a decomposing body locked in a derelict vehicle on Saturday. Jared Higgs speaks with the man's relatives.
On Saturday, police were called to the discovery of a lifeless body in a derelict vehicle in North Bohemia. Responding officers found both doors locked and summoned fire services to open the doors using the jaws of life. A severely decomposed body was found in the front passenger seat. The discovery was made less than 5 minutes walking distance from a missing man.
Somebody either had to put Justin in that car, and I believe they probably was doing things and they got scared and they put Justin in that car, because Justin would never go in that car and lock himself in that car.
Stewart was reported missing in Grand Bahama on July 2nd. RBPF press liaison officer on Grand Bahama, ASP Stephen Roll, says due to the severity of decomposition, attempts will be made to identify the body through fingerprints. Stewart's mother, 58-year-old Deidre Stewart, last saw her son outside their home the day he went missing after making him a cup of hot chocolate. I spoke to Stewart's mother over the phone. She described the 19-year-old as full of life and a child at heart.
We have a car here, he'll go in the car and just sit down. He'll just sit down in the car and listen to his rap music. But if Justin had gone in that car, and when he started to get hot, he would have come out that car.
The Stewart family are waiting for official word on whether the body found is in fact Justin. His mother regretting that they didn't stick to their ritual the last time they spoke.
Me and him, we always had a saying, never say goodbye. We always say, see you later. And that day, I didn't hear my job. I didn't hear my job. I would see me later.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Thanks, Jared. In other news, the Bahamas taking 2 golds and a bronze at the Babe Ruth Championships. Meanwhile, Jazz Chisholm named a starter in the MLB All-Star Game. Here's Marcellus Hall.
All right, thanks a lot, and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. This past 4 or 5 days, you've been seeing a lot of baseball here on our TV as we brought you coverage of the inaugural Babe Ruth Caribbean Baseball Championships. Turns out, good thing, because the Bahamas took home gold in 2 divisions. Let's give you details on that right now. Monday, championship day for the inaugural Babe Ruth Caribbean Baseball Championships over at the newly refurbished Blue Hills playing fields. Team Bahamas taking on the team from Cuba for the gold medal. This was the Bahamas host team, who most people did not think would be in this position, but nonetheless, here they were, and they would be up to the challenge as they took a 3-0 lead in this contest, withstanding challenge after challenge from the Cuban squad, able to get the job done. Team Bahamas at the end of 6 celebrating the championship. 3-0 ends up to being the final score. Afterwards, team manager Javier Bo talking about his squad and the journey ahead.
So right now, it's back to preparation, it's back to step 1. So the cycle starts all over again to get their mind right and get them ready.
The old saying goes, the brick to the building and the refuse, huh? So you guys now have vindication. You come in as the host team, but you were the ones that walk away with the championship. How does that feel for you?
It feels good. When they picked the team, the guys understood that they were still in the 28 best players in their division. So we knew what that meant. We had some bumpy bricks in the road playing against the home team because they knew those guys. So they felt some kind of way. So after I got them to relax and play their own game, our slogan was, we all we got, we all we need. So as long as they play for the person on the side of them, we were sure that we were going to win.
Now in the bronze medal contest, the Bahamas tournament team, they outlasted Aruba to take the bronze medal contest there. So the Bahamas winning gold and bronze in this year's inaugural event. And in the under-16 division, the Bahamas also striking for gold as they beat the USA 13-5, your final. And speaking of baseball, it is official. Jazz Chisholm has been voted as a starter for this year's National League team in the All-Star contest slated for July 19th in Los Angeles. Jazz becomes the first Bahamian to not only become an All-Star, but to be voted as a starter in the process. We'll give you all the details on that as it gets a little closer, perhaps even hear from the man himself.
It's deep, it's gone!
And there it is, your look at sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Ahead on our news, how a creative camp will help at-risk campers cope with their issues. Plus, quiet but steamy weather continues this week. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center with an extended weather forecast. Stay with us.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shantytown.
Welcome back to our news. A soon-to-be-launched summer camp is set to give at-risk teens a chance to express their creative side. The Creative Genius Camp will run from July 18th to August 12th at University of the Bahamas' Office of Disabilities and Compliance. Camp founder Carla Campbell says she hopes the experience will help participants cope with their issues and build confidence while learning new skills.
Once you have a teenager and they take an art class and they might have one or more of the at-risk factors that we're specifically looking for this particular camp at this moment, you're in.
Well, looks like there may be some morning thunderstorms tomorrow. Greg is back in the Weather Center with a closer look.
Thanks again, everybody, and welcome back for our second look at weather. Very quiet across the area, very hot conditions with us as a ridge of high pressure stands out across our area from the Atlantic extending into the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to remain in charge of our weather for the next couple of days. So we're looking at some very hot temperatures during the day and those feels-like temperatures approaching the triple digits, warm nights, maybe a spotty shower or two, but all in all quiet. Some Saharan dust is moving along that ridge, the southern portion of that ridge as well, and it's affecting portions of the central and southeast Bahamas. Could see some of that in our area. National Hurricane Center watching an area in the Gulf of Mexico for some potential for development. It will stay in the Gulf of Mexico. Shouldn't be any problem for us over the next several days. Northwest Bahamas and Central Bahamas, boating conditions tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 7:33 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, a caution flag in place for you guys down there. East to southeasterly wind flow at 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day forecast over the next couple of days, typical summer weather. We have some afternoon showers and some isolated thunderstorms during the day. And of course, those warm temperatures at night. Little disturbance should get in our area by Saturday, so we see an increase in some showers by then. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe evening, everybody.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.